let's switch everything around, get in front of the camera for this video. What do you say?
No way.
Do it tabletop style?
Yeah, it looks so much better. There's so much more to look at that way.
I like it. That's what we'll do.
Look at the spread here already, and this is the boring stuff.
Why do they want to look at us anyhow?
I don't get it. It's going to be a long one, too.
These are the stars of the show, dudes. AR versus AK. Welcome to my update video with a special guest. You may have heard of him. TacticalDoodle. I'm glad to have TD here. Love him. He's so funny. I mean, I wish I could put everything he says on camera, but we just can't do it. Yeah. Sorry.
I've ruined a lot of takes so far.
This is going to be the update video. It is officially year 11. Yeah, well, year 12.
We'll call it 11, 12 or 13.
Well, from channel creation date, it's year 12 of TMP. And I did the original AR versus AR, I'm sorry, the original AK versus AR series of videos back in, I think,
2009.
Early 09, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the most watched ones channel-wide, which is, it's weird to think how long ago that was.
It is about 1,500 videos down in the stack.
Yeah, it is.
And guys have been saying for years, please update it.
Yeah, update it, man. Everything's changed. We keep putting it off. But
yeah. And they say this. They go, well, you've had so much more experience than you had when you first started TMP. True statement, by the way. In both platforms, have your opinions changed? Do you have more data to share? What would you recommend for my first, I don't know, tactical rifle? We'll just say that. Defensive tactical rifle or carbine.
Look at the difference in the AR. Just everything about the platform's so much better now and lighter. This is the base one.
This is an ancient one. Police service rifle, a Colt.
But back in 09, you had quad rails.
Canadian produced Colt, by the way.
Very cool.
God, my writing's already worn off on this. We shot it so much. $535 is what we paid for this used police gun. Sick. AR-15A3. Anyways, we're getting distracted with the cool factor of this gun. And then we have a Blackheart Industries AK-63D Hungarian underfolder for now. But man, do we have a lot of hardware that we can cycle on the table, right?
Tons.
Tons. Eye candy. And yes, it's better than looking at our ugly mugs.
We
need a pistol right here, though, dude.
Don't worry.
Check this. You haven't seen this in a while, so say hello again to this gun. Does it look familiar? Doodle loves this gun.
It's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. No, don't try buying it. Every time we show it, we always kind of use it as our surrogate Russian sidearm, and everyone's
perfect.
Dude, I want it. Can I?
We've had offers up to 3 times the original price we've paid on the CZ Cold War commemorative CZ75. And this is serial number CCP 775.
Very cool.
Not an actual Russian sidearm, but it did serve in the Warsaw Pact for decades. It still is serving there. And
I'll
Hall
take
of
this over
Famer.
Makarov.
Yeah. Jardine shot this the other day, and he's like, dude, I'll buy it. What do you want for it? I was like, sorry, dude, I can't sell it.
Dude.
It's cast member. It's family, beloved.
It's awesome.
Heirloom. No, not an actual CZ. We know that in the Russian military, but who gives a freak? And look at the red star, dude. How awesome is that? Very appropriate with the AK-63.
When I first held it, I didn't really care for it too much. And over time, shooting it, awesome. Holding it, awesome. Carrying it, awesome. And I don't know why. I just love it now.
You can take its weight, though. That's a heavy gun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 38 ounces. It's portly.
Yeah.
Doodle's funny, though. He will carry around a 1911. He's one of those guys that actually carries heavy guns once in a while. Not every day. So that's cool. Let's put this on the table as our knife. This is the Microtech Halo once again. Sick! Eye candy. Would you rather be looking at our faces or all this cool stuff?
Oh man, the stuff. It's so much cooler.
I've ran into TMPers. They go, dude, that one knife you roll on, what is that? And I go,
yeah.
He goes, it's an out the front. It has that tanto blade. It's camouflage. Like, you're talking about the Halo. He's like, yeah. Can I buy that from you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, sorry, dude.
And a lot of these things, because we just throw in trinkets and pistols and stuff like that.
Candy.
And
it's just eye candy.
Yeah, the amount of times people go, hey, what's that knife in that video like 3 months ago? I'm like, dude.
There's so many knives. It's just fun stuff.
I like that Spyderco. That one's cool.
This is a Domino. Spyderco Domino in Peel-Ply carbon fiber. And what's the steel on that? CPM. Oh, that's CTS XHP. I think the machining could be better. It's got those vertical striations. About $200. Titanium frame lock.
Pretty cool.
It's very excellent.
Isn't that like a bigger version of the dice?
Yeah, I'd have to take the dice out. I've got another one here. I've got a Sage. a sage that's floating around. Here it is right here. Sage. We could actually pan around to our left and our right, and it would add about 20 minutes to the video.
Yeah.
We can't do that right now.
There's so much cool stuff around here in the studio.
There's a sage.
See, that one's cool too.
Oh, this is in our collection. So this is a titanium frame lock sage. Reeves integral lock, I think, is the homage that they did with this particular locking mechanism on the sage. It's one of our all-time favorite EDCs. What are you carrying right now, by the way?
One. Right now,
I've got...
I was carrying my Wilson M1
Oh,
before.
dude, this is not made up. I've got the SOCOM manual action in black. S90, I think, actually, for this one. What do you have?
I just have my OHT.
Weak! You don't have a knife on you?
No, I had that Wilson I Cerakoted, but it kept banging down.
Weak dick!
Oh, well.
Excuse me. There's something in the air here. Oh, yeah. AR versus AK. Here's the ground rules, dudes. It's going to go long. Feature length plus maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. We don't know. We have a lot to discuss. It will be a single parter, unlike the original series. The original series, I was limited to 10-minute clips in YouTube, so I had like a 5-part. I have found that guys usually won't follow along with a multi-part series.
Yeah.
Not usually. How about never? They don't. So this is how you digest this long video. You just watch it in parts or treat it like a podcast.
Yeah.
Which a lot of TMPers do, by the way.
A lot of guys do.
They don't watch the video at all. They're
Yeah.
listening to the audio like a podcast. Which means we probably shouldn't put any inset video at all in this. Forget the editing.
Just leave it.
I think I asked my Twitter guys that. I was like, hey, dudes, do you care about inset video? If I haven't, I'm going to. And I bet you most guys do like it. Because we're not going to stay here on tabletop. We're going to take you to the desert shooting AR platforms, AK platforms, kind of proofs of what we're saying. And again, this is an opinion piece. It's not an expert piece. We don't build ARs from scratch. We're not a from-scratch AK builder. We may get some micro details wrong. It don't matter. I'm going to broad stroke it and give you some opinions based on a lot of freaking data after shooting these guns for 10 years here.
I'm going to chime in as the resident mid-20s guy that's talking about these from a consumer perspective. We're not looking to outfit a freaking security division at a silo somewhere in Pakistan. Not because guys will do, well, what one would you get? What system? This is for normal folks.
You know, honestly, that could be an interesting discussion. You know, there's a lot of interesting discussions when you say AK versus AR. Which gun would you use? Which gun would you take? One of them, and I think you're alluding to it now, and we'll bounce into cool factor right now, is what would you use as a contractor? So if you have the latitude to take each one, you're not constrained by organizational policy like military or a law enforcement organization. You're a contractor. Which one would you go with? We're going to start with cool factor. Which one would be cooler to take for you personally?
Ooh. That's a tough call.
I almost feel like AK still wins in that realm because guys who see a contractor running AKs are like, oh, dude, look, he's got an AK-60 AMD, you know, a full auto AK. They love it. It's kind of cool.
Well, let's jump back to 09 when we did that first one. I feel like AKs were a lot more popular then because of that. Because people were seeing all the cool shots of dudes with their full beards and their shamogs. And what were they carrying?
AK.
Not the M4. They were carrying an AK, man, because they're in theater and they're getting paid.
Usually like a Krinkhoff variant or an underfolder, something small, which I never really understood. I'm like, I mean, I love this gun. I reviewed this separately, the Blackheart, which is discontinued, I think, but it's an underfolder, and there's all types of underfolders that you could get. It shoots well. It's a comfortable stock for what it is, but I would go with a full stock variant because you're out in the freaking desert and you have a potential 400-meter shot all day long. I want max accuracy, max ergos comfort, which, by the way, will be a separate talking point in this video. But they look good and also roll in video games. Video games were a huge part of the AK surgence and popularity because guys would run the AK in the video game. And you played them. Do they have more hitting power and more points versus an AR, M4,
original Modern
M16?
Warfare? Yeah, they try to do it so the AK rounds are more powerful and a little bit harder to control. But that kind of turned part of the generation onto it.
What are some games that did that? Can you think of any
Call
offhand?
of Duty, Battlefield.
No, Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon. I don't know if they have that.
I'm lost they do when I get into all that video game stuff because I don't shoot them fictionally. I shoot them for realsies.
Yeah.
So as a contractor, and this is just kind of a second cool discussion we're having. I think this is just kind of
Well, this is part of the landscape, because back in
Right.
'09, the landscape of the gun industry entirely different from today. You
Correct.
had the war on terror going on in the sandboxes, so you had all these cool pictures of guys with their beards and their shamogs, and they were walking around in theater with AKs, if they were the private guys. That looked cool. I think that fed a
does
lot of the
look cool.
popularity for it.
It does. And there were some movies that backed that up. Hurt Locker
Oh, yeah.
was part of it. The contractors in Hurt Locker were running AKs.
Yeah.
Some other movies were shown it. Black Hawk Down, that was way long
way
time. That was in the
before.
90s.
Yeah.
That showed a lot of M4 action.
Yep. I think that Black Hawk Down sold a lot of A2s.
It did.
And from experience, personally, I think that's what sold me on A2s and A4s too.
Black Hawk Down?
I can't. I want one. That's part of why I like this. There's something cool about it. A generic, unmolested, perfect M4. I think people are embarrassed to say how much they let movies
How much yes.
how much they
That's what
allow
we're talking
that to creep
right.
into their mind when they're coming to a purchase
right.
decision, and they try to come up with these. Well, yeah, I need more hitting power. Yeah, I need something that's.
We're going to talk about that, though.
Those
And there
could
are
be
some
good
valid
reasons.
points to that, but you're right. That seeing it in video games, seeing it in movies is highly influential for people buying the platform.
Yeah. When I got excited about seeing this one in the testing queue going, dude, that is awesome. It's how much? I'll say about 40% of that enthusiasm came from watching Black Hawk Down 900 times as a kid.
Yeah.
It is what it's cool.
And there's a bunch of movies that show both platforms in
many.
use. Cool factor, though, seeing the contractors and whoever running an AK, yeah, it's influential to people. And maybe some people who are in the tactical training arena that advocate an AK platform, perhaps they advocate an AR platform, and they look to those individuals as opinion leaders. And they go, hey, that's what he likes, so that's what I'm going to like. You'll find here in the Nutnfancy project, we really don't play favorites. At the end of the video, we do have to choose a favorite. It may be by a large margin, it may be by a small margin. You just have to watch the whole video to find out. But we really, really love both platforms. Is that correct?
Yeah.
TacticalDoodle.
Totally.
Yeah, we're going to treat it fairly, and we love both platforms. For us, if we talk about cool factor, it's pretty much equal.
It's like blondes and brunettes, man. You can like them both.
A beautiful brunette, awesome. A beautiful blonde, awesome. Okay, how about in terms of showing up to a tactical shooting course? Which one would be cooler to have?
See, that I was about to say, the AK has a kind of charisma that the AR platform kind of doesn't for me, and it comes from that. It's harder to shoot. It's not as fast. It's not as high speed, low drag.
More recoil with a 7.62 39. More recoil.
More recoil.
Usually.
The trigger's not as easy.
Depending,
Unless you
but
put
yeah,
in a good one.
As a generalization, that's
Mag
true.
changes are definitely not meant to be completed
Ergonomically, it's not
quickly.
as fast and convenient.
Yeah. That's cool.
Which one is cooler, though? You show up to tactical carbon class, which one?
If you start kicking ass with an AK, awesome.
Everyone's going to be talking about you.
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, dude, did you see that guy with the underfolder? He is rocking it to 400 meters. He's leading the pack.
Rocking and rolling and slapping that mag out with your other mag.
YouTube style.
Super cool.
YouTube style.
Super
You remember
cool.
when all those videos used to come out and like 08, 09?
How fast
like,
can you reload an AK?
So when we were showing AK shooting, guys would roll and say, hey, man, you need to learn how to load the AK.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, trust me, in a firefight, your mag change ain't going to win or lose.
Yeah.
What's going to win or lose your firefight is if you can hit anything.
Yep.
That's what's going to win or lose a firefight, if you can hit what you're shooting at. Competitively, it may make a difference.
Yeah.
Competitively.
I would love to see someone running a competitive freaking underfolder.
It's me.
That would
love
be cool.
it. I'm sure there's guys have done it. I wish I had footage of it. I'd roll it in. What I'll roll in is when you and I were testing the AK-63. Did you help me with that test, or was it
I
a
love
crew
it.
member?
This is one of my favorite
Did you shoot
AKs.
this? I
Yeah,
forget.
I love it. This is on
I love
my
this.
recommend list. It's Parkerized. It's awesome.
And it's like a Class 3 gun, but it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so short overall length. It's so portable. It has a full-length barrel, a fully functional stock that can come past a 30-rounder, at least a steel. I don't know about this Magpul.
It comes across that.
Oh,
I just
my
unfolded
gosh.
it.
It is so excellent.
And this isn't greasy, which I love.
Blonde wood.
It's very
I
cool.
think that's rubber wood in there. It might be beech. I forget. Parkerized in this variation.
Love Parker. I wish more people would do that.
So we're really talking about second cool right here. Which one, of course, you would like to talk about with your friends. That's an important part of buying it. So they come over to your house. Maybe you guys are having a pizza night or something. Which gun would you enjoy talking most about? An AK variant or this highly used AR-15A3? It's really a hard call.
It's very tough.
They're both excellent. And by the way, we have a ton of hardware sitting out in the wings. We're going to cycle in some other guns. These are just the starter guns.
Yeah. These are the most
I'm going to call it a
basic
draw.
ones, because we don't have too much stuff in inventory that isn't
Modified.
far modified from
Right.
And I think that makes it a lot harder to talk about ARs, because the breadth of customization and the
We're going to get
lengths
to
and
that.
There's a lot
We're going
more
to get
into
to that. Cool factor of which one you like fondling more when you're watching television, preferably the Nutnfancy project on your computer screen. Yes. Put it on autoplay.
Yeah.
And subscribing, by the way.
What do you have your snap caps in right now?
Hopefully they're like
Totally.
practicing with a gun right now.
This is one I practice with this one all the time. It's awesome.
To me, it's a draw. I would enjoy both of them. But when you're talking cool factor and maybe throw in fun factor in shooting, I will side with the AK a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy shooting an AK for just fun more than I do shooting an AR. I love ARs, don't get me wrong, I really do. But dude, you give me a 500 round brick
Yeah.
of 7.62 I'm going to have a good time. It's more blast, it's more recoil, it has that and by the way, I've always felt that way since the 1980s.
Yeah.
That the AK is such a fun gun to shoot, and it's really fun taking people out who've never shot an AK variant rifle, and I'm talking 7.62 this round right here. We will mention 5.45 They're just fun. They're super fun. It's a cool factor in terms of shooting. Slightly tilts in the favor of the AK for me.
They're fun, and the
With a
sound
good trigger,
when
if
that
I have a good
round
trigger.
hits steel is awesome.
Yeah, and that will take us right now to hitting power. Nice lead in, TD. Boom. So hitting power really is the center of the argument with a lot of people of why they would choose an AK platform versus an AR platform. And we'll focus on the main two rounds for the types. 7.62 versus 5.56 45. Which is best? Well, you guys know this. There's all types of arguments on the interweb you can engage in. You'll never have resolution in any of those arguments. I'm not going to really try to solve the argument here. We do have a few opinions, however.
I'm going to shut this down if we start talking ballistics too much, because I don't have the patience for it. With graphs and speed and which brand, this brand, that brand, it's too much. We talked a lot about it in the original. We went over so much of the ballistic.
A lot of numbers in the original series.
Go watch that one if you really want to know.
I will give a couple ballistic points, and that's long range.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about accuracy separately, and I guess I was going to talk about long range in a different TP, but we'll do it right here. I prefer the 5.56 long range, and usually in a 75 or 77 grain loading. Higher BC, it simplifies my drop at range. I can reach out to 600 yards with it if I'm having a good day, by the way. And that's a big if. Usually about 400 yards for me is the limit of my 5.56 shooting. But I'd much rather attack the target with a 5.56 77 grain than this round. This is an intermediate range round, the 7.62 Let's say 300 yards.
Yeah.
You're going to find most guys are going to have a much harder time hitting with this round, the 7.62 versus the 5.56. Now, if you put the 5.45
by 39.
if you put that in the mix, then they're about equal. That thing's a freaking laser
That's my
beam.
favorite caliber.
Bring that gun up, the SGL.
Isn't it on your side?
Oh, here it is. So, like we said, we have a lot of hardware. We've shown this in the project lots. This is our highly modified, Duracoated, and multicam original SGL 31. 5.45
One of my favorite guns
TD
ever, really.
has bonded to this gun. He absolutely loves it. Now, when you talk about ranging out, this caliber gets it done.
It kicks ass.
It really does.
And we hand it to people,
beam.
and they go, oh, I guess I'll try it, and they're hitting steel way further than they are with anything
400
else.
yards, it can hit steel, especially if we're shooting 7 and 6, which, by the way, is extremely hard to find since they banned the importation of it. Highly corrosive, though, that 5.45 39 loading.
Yeah.
It is 50 grain, 3,000 feet per second, more or less.
That's
about
part of the-
970 foot-pounds. Sorry for the ballistics numbers, bro.
Yeah, uh-huh.
He's going to shut me down.
I don't need to know the ballistics. I just know I'm pretty sure it's a laser. You just
Yeah.
you let that thing fly, you see it through the scope, and it tink, you hear it a second later. Awesome.
We're talking about hitting power. It's great to talk abstractly, but also are guys really stocking up and finding 5.45 39 ammo now?
I've never met someone who has, actually.
I've never met anybody. Very rare to find anyone that even has an AK in our circles.
Yep.
That's true. And we're going to visit that again, but not in depth right now, but much less in this oddball caliber, which is kind of an oddball caliber. 545 is a little bit different.
It's a funky It's cool looking though.
You can buy it.
Look how sharp the rounds
but
look.
Don't get me wrong, guys. You can go out and buy commercial 545 ammo.
Yeah.
I think Tulamo was importing it, but I've heard Tulamo is going to be cut off with what's going on between the U.S. and Russia, which kind of gets to availability of ammunition. The ammunition for AKs can be a problem to get. It's here, it's not here. The load you really like is now discontinued. Kind of like these military classic 124 grain HP 7.6239. Love this round. I can't get any more.
Sweet.
Not being imported anymore. So now what do? You got to go domestic, which means your cost is going to go way, way up probably. Yep. We may hit that again. But hitting power, 545, we want to acknowledge that at range it's pretty good. I don't think it hits any harder than 223. Insert standard tumbling discussion here, about how it tumbles and creates a lot more damage, and it's designed to, create a lot more tissue damage and all that. Not going to get into it. It's a hard call for me personally, and we're going to talk about overall opinions and shooting it. Now, in long range, for sure, I would go with this. I mean, I'm looking at 300 yards, about a 3.5 inch drop with American Eagle 5.5. That's AE 223 load. Sorry, TD. And then American Eagle, not this one. This is Red Army Brass, but pretend it's American Eagle. That will drop 8 MOA at 300 meters. So more than twice. It is basically a rainbow, and it gets worse as it goes on. At 500 yards, this is dropping 21 inches, give or take.
That's basically a mortar.
You're mortaring the rounds in. The 5.56 at 500 yards, 9.75 inches. And that's a standard A, 59 Fahrenheit, 78% relative humidity, 2953 on the
But guess what? It's super easy to do that because you got these bitchin' sights.
We'll get to that. That's our next talking point.
That.
But so long range, I'm definitely going to give it to the AR-15. We're going to talk about accuracy in a separate talking point. We're just talking about hitting power, because at least the round will get there, even though it's a very lightweight round in the 55 grain loading. This is 124 in this particular one, but it will get there. No doubt you're going to have outliers. Guys will roll in and go, hey, I've hit it 600 yards with the AK, and I do it routinely. I actually find that very hard to believe from what I've seen. Guys, when we bring them out in Soldier Boy, they're having a hard time with an AR hitting at 400 yards, and I think, especially open sights, I think it just ain't going to happen. Not in a practical desert environment, type shooting scenario. Maybe at the range, you're not breathing heavy, and you get super lucky, maybe. But long range all day long this. Now, let's bring it in a bit. Hitting power. If I'm I'll say 0 to 100 yards, this is my caliber of choice. 7.6239. At least versus a 55 grain. If I go with a 77, then it complicates my opinion. Because I think a 77 grain, maybe a 75 in the 5.56, different cartridge. Hits harder, shoots flatter. Forget the long range. Yes, it dominates at long range, but it also defeats obstacles like light metal, glass, light wood. Well, I still think the 30 caliber projectile is best. And I've said that in a lot of tabletops, that I really love shooting the AK round, the 7.6239. Here's a Hornady SST load.
It looks cool.
That is a great load, 0 to 100, maybe 0 to 200 yards. I mean, you're talking it's going to go through light metal. It's going to be deflected less by brush, by foliage. It's going to go through clothing. It's going to go through, again, light glass obstacles, like if you're an officer of the law using it as a patrol weapon, it will. So if you're going to constrain me, we'll say 0 to 200, I'm going to go 7.6239. How about you, TD?
Yeah, same. This is one of our primary defensive rounds, isn't it?
It is.
That's what you have in the AK?
It is, yeah. If we use AK in our system defensively, it's loaded with SST. Yeah. Or this one, both of these. The 124 grain Hollow Point Wolf, which we have in stash. So that's where it's at. I think with body armor, too, this is a more complicated round to stop.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the ballistics table, but I think you have to go up to a level 4. Well, you have to go up to level 4 for this one, too, because this is a really fast round. Probably a lot more to say about hitting power. That will suffice, because we got to get on to a very important point. AK versus AR, which is more accurate?
It's a tough question.
Is it? Come on, it is not tough. He's being sarcastic. They're not close. Everyone knows the answer to this. We're not going to provide any more enlightenment right now.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the AR is much more accurate than the AK.
Well, in 1946, I don't think they were putting together the AK schematics going, we really need this thing to be a 1 MOA gun.
It was never designed for that. It was designed to be a disposable battlefield weapon, give volume of fire to, I don't know, intermediate ranges with medium levels of accuracy and to be easily produced, mass-produced, and they achieved that.
Yep, easy enough to give to school kids. And
Kalashnikov nailed his objective. And then some.
Yeah.
It's actually more accurate than I think he intended it to be in a quality AK build. But yeah, AR dominates the AK in accuracy in all our shooting in the Nutnfancy project. Yes, I have taken variants of the AK platform out and I've gotten lucky. For instance, I did take a Russian-built stamped receiver AK variant out in the desert one year, about 7 years ago. Shot it with open sights. Tech sights, if I remember.
Yep.
Got 1-inch groups at 100 yards. Multiple 1-inch groups at 100 yards. And I showed the shooting footage as I did it. I think I got lucky. I tried to replicate that, couldn't come close. I took the AK out a couple years back, testing all kinds of loads, the Hornady SST, the Wolf, the Tulamo, Aguila, some others. I was getting about 3 to 4 MOA with careful shooting. Because it's more difficult to mount optics on it, we'll get to that in a second. Because it's more difficult to mount optics onto, we'll get to that separately. But yeah,
I think it says enough that it's been 7 years and you still remember that one time you hit 1 MOA with an AK. But can you do that with any of the ARs? Because you go, dude, I had this. We've had like 70 different ARs and you can't get. And I guarantee you a couple of them were that accurate. But it wasn't as surprising an event as it was with the Arsenal.
Well, one thing I found out in doing TMP with the AR platform is they are not all 1 MOA shooters. No way. I find that a typical AR is about 2 MOA.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit surprising when I started because everyone online was going, oh yeah, ARs are so accurate. They are more accurate than an AK platform, but they're not magical. If they are put together right with a good barrel, yes, I will see sub-MOA groups with ammunition that particular gun likes. And yes, overall, the AR shreds the AK for accuracy. Generally, with a quality AR like this one, 1.5 MOA.
Yeah.
This one shoots 1.5, and it's heavily used. It's a departmental gun, Canadian build, AR-15A3. Colt. It's 1.5 MOA all day long. With ammo it really likes, even though the barrel's been shot a lot, approaching 1 MOA. I can't do that with many AKs. Maybe a milled receiver AK, you can do that, but it's very, very hard to do. So I would say accuracy is not even close. AR all day long. You have to kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of debate in that particular talking point. A lot of room to make a
Yeah, I don't see a lot of like long-barreled AKs on the market to compete with the DMR stuff.
There are some really accurate AKs like the Vepr. The Vepr is a very accurate AK, but it's super heavy.
Yeah, it's a chunk.
You pit it against like a 6.5 pound AR that's shooting 1 MOA.
Yeah.
And we'll cover it SAWC here in a sec. Dude, it's not even a comparison. But here's your scenario. Okay, in accuracy. You are a rural deputy for a sheriff's department. Did I say that word right?
Rural. It's a hard one.
Sheriff's deputy. And you're all alone. You patrol hundreds and hundreds of square miles. And you're responding to, let's just be ridiculous, to a terrorist call out. So it's going to be a gunfight.
You're the only guy around.
Perhaps a hostage situation. Okay? Which gun do you choose? And it can be any variant you want. You're going to go with an AR variant, any gun you want, any build you want, or are you going to go with an AK variant?
Ooh,
by the way, your range is 200 yards.
I'd probably go AR.
I would too.
AR.
But why?
77 grains, if the department allows it.
Well, if you're an individual officer with a rural department,
Yeah,
dude,
you load whatever you want.
you load whatever you want. I would too.
As long as they're paying for it.
But it gets to the point of accuracy. Because if I have to make a very precise shot at 200, 300, 400 yards, I'd much rather do it with an AR.
Yeah.
Because if my variability is 3 MOA out of a stamped receiver AK, and this is assuming I have optics on the AK, dude, It's going to be, you want to swap them out?
Yeah.
Okay, here comes another player.
At.
Here comes new hardware. Here comes our highly modified SGL-21 Russian-produced AK variant rifle.
Which,
by Arsenal, still a gold standard in the AK world, if you ask me.
And
still
well
is.
done if you bought an Arsenal back when the review dropped. Because they'll say they're a lot pricier now.
Way up in value.
Yeah.
Now, we have another one. I don't know if we have it on the table, but I'll show you inset footage of it that's scoped. That is a great AK, but that was the one I did my accuracy testing with, and I'm still looking with most lows to 3 to 4 MOA. So if you have to do a hostage rescue shot, granted, that's kind of an interesting scenario. Maybe it's realistic, maybe it isn't. I don't want to do it with an AK.
Yeah.
Do you? You're 3 to 4 MOA, so 3 to 4 inches, and that's if you're doing everything perfectly. Perfect stability, perfect breathing, perfect trigger control, AR, all day long. So I'm shooting a 1 MOA AR, so out to 400 yards, I can shoot a 4-inch group with proper ammunition, kind of like with that IWI stuff sitting over there in the wing. Show them that, if we haven't shown them already. This is the kind of load this is kind of a GTW load for us. Either that or Federal 77 grain stuff. I love that stuff. The gold medal match is like one of my favorite loads ever. Now, getting to the accuracy talking point, and I think you mentioned this briefly. Let's say we don't have any optics. So we have, I think, a TRS, Bushnell TRS 25 on that, Holosun 503C on the AR up here. So the red dot, these are CQB setup rifles, both of them. Maybe 0 to 200 yards is our POU on this. But let's say you don't have, a sight that you want to run irons. Look at how short your sight radius is on an AK variant rifle. It's like a long pistol.
With that
it's like a Glock 34.
Yeah.
Now the AK guys will come in and go, oh, I have no problems with it. I can hit out to 5 million yards with it. Some guys are really good with it. I will say, I've seen some guys shoot, and they can get it done. Out to 600 yards, open sights, with man-sized targets. Yep. But on our steel targets, I've never seen anybody that can own it out in the desert. They all suck.
And some guys can run a 5.5-minute mile. That doesn't mean I know many of them.
Online, everybody does. Yeah. But in real life, nobody does. That's what we found out. And the front sight is so broad. Dude, it's ridiculous that it covers like literally it covers
like
a man.
Lego brick.
It covers the width of a dude at 300 yards. I have a thinner front sight on this, and I think it got bent, by the way.
It did get bent.
Freak, dude. A thinner front sight post on this, and you can see the downside of that. Even though it's so-called protected, it got schwacked. It's not primary, it's a backup sight on this. But we're talking iron sights and accuracy. I think the AK is a distant second. Versus let's say you take an M16A2 or a full-length gas system, you have your sights pushed out way up front. This is a carbine length gas system on this DI gun. But even this, look at your sight radius, it's a lot better. The sights on the M16, M4, AR-15 are dominant. They're precise. They're easily adjusted. I'm not really representing it here.
No, not with it. We don't have any A2s on hand right now.
I don't have any backup iron sights to show you, but we'll roll in footage. It's just really easy to hit with. The sights and the sight radius contribute to it as already an inherently more accurate platform. It is. Now, you get a good barrel with a lot of AK variants. Cold hammer forged, Steyr barrels in some cases. They're good barrels. I think this one here, for instance, is a outstanding barrel from what I've seen, but still there's a lot more going on to degrade accuracy. It's not free floated. There's a big mass of metal moving back and forth. It's just not really suited for accuracy, nor is it built to be. We let off with that. Versus the direct gas impingement, maybe even I would say a piston operated AR2, more linear. This is a good example right here. Highly precise. This is a 1 MOA capable gun all day long with the right loads and with a good shooter. So if I'm a patrol officer, going back to the scenario, which gun between these, pretend this has a scope on it, this one. Like Doodle said, I'd choose 77 grains if I could as my primary combat load.
Oh, I guess you are.
In fact, you can see my thing right here. I've got this one zeroed for 77s. We're talking about a typical available type rifle that a guy can go buy off the shelf without putting a lot of time in it. You can accurize anything. You can take a Mini 14 and make it 1 MOA. Like accuracy rifle systems in Odessa, Texas used to do it. They used to put big, thick barrels on Mini 14s and guarantee 1 MOA shooting with it. And you spend basically $1,500, in a Mini 14, and you got an accurate rifle. Oh, by the way, it weighed 10 pounds. Yeah. It is what it is. Am I missing anything? So you would say AR.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So I think most guys would agree with that. Now we go to durability and maintenance. Which one is the best design? Let's go back to our testing in TMP. Which ones have we had the most problems with?
ARs.
ARs. True.
There's been an embarrassing amount of times we've had to get out the rod and knock out cases.
That's correct.
And I'm surprised.
That's all types of ARs, not direct grass impingement, but we're talking piston-driven ARs as well. By the way, nutnfancy.bigcartel.com for all these sick patches.
Boom.
How's your stock on that, by the way?
Sure, okay. We got some more owl ones coming, so
You're going to do some new stuff?
maybe.
Say in the comments if you'd buy new t-shirts if TD did them. It'd be something completely different you haven't seen before. Probably something hilarious and off the wall.
Probably.
Say in comments if you'd like it. Maybe you'll see it coming. Yeah, we've seen a fair amount of problems with ARs of different manufacturers. It is what it is. I've seen fewer problems with AKs. AK variant rifles, but we have had some.
Yeah.
We have had some stoppages out there. I don't know if I can find the footage because I'd have to go through 10 hard drives to go searching. It would take me
more than that.
All day.
2 or 3 hard drives per year.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
I think I'll upload this in high resolution 240p just
full 240p
to save hard drive space.
Beautiful.
I'm not doing it. I'm doing 1080 on everything. Hey, do 4K. Why?
No.
Why?
No way.
You really need to see that much resolution? No, not doing it. Not gonna do it. Durability and maintenance, I'd say AK wins. It's simpler, there's fewer moving parts, there's fewer components. It was built to be simple. It was built to be a battlefield weapon. Well, so was the AR too, but the AK was built by Kalashnikov to be just super simple and super durable. I talked about in the first series how it is the system to go with if you don't have access to lubrication. It can shoot dry. I don't know if you can say that with a lot of different AR-15 systems, especially DI.
I think when it first got deployed in Vietnam, they tested that theory out and it didn't work out so great.
They had some ammunition problems too. The ammunition supply with the early M16s was problematic.
They
figured it out.
Itself.
Yeah.
But how about this? Since the AK is disposable, which one's easier to service as a consumer? If you need parts for an AK, how many people do you know that can go in and start fixing stuff in it?
That is a good point. Now you're talking about something different. You're talking about parts availability and long-term maintenance if something goes down. Or better yet, what if you field strip it and you did it in the snow and off goes your bolt flying and you can't find it? Now what do? I think you're going to find a lot more parts more readily for the AR-15.
Yeah.
And by the way, don't take this to mean the AR-15 is unreliable and it's not long-term durable. That is not true. A well-built AR-15, just by example, for like this POF, an off-the-shelf one, or one that you put together, and I have one here I'll put on the table. This has been ultra reliable for us. Ultra. So it doesn't have to be an off-the-shelf AR. It can be one that you put together. They are very reliable. But yes, there are more failure points to them. A lot more smaller pieces, a lot more springs, a lot more going on.
Tiny little pins.
That's a price for the high ergonomics and the modularity of the AR-15 platform.
Yep.
But if I'm going to go out there and buy parts and I know they're going to fit my gun, I'll take an AR, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, because if you lose your bolt in the snow, you can't find it, and you have to go home, you buy another bolt, maybe it fits, maybe it doesn't, because there's a lot of variability in the AK platform.
Yep.
A lot. Maybe the bolt fits, maybe it doesn't. What's your country of origin? What plans do they follow? If you get a Russian build, they're pretty high quality, they're very consistent, but what if you get a Romanian? What if you get a bolt and it doesn't fit? Do you have to do some hand fitting? Do you have to take it to a gunsmith? I don't see that problem with AR very much, do you?
Not nearly as much.
Much more consistent.
And I've had that problem before, where I had to swap out a bolt in an AK, and I was sitting there trying to Google, would this one work? I don't know. Like, test fit. And I was surprised, really, because you get spoiled with the AR. You go, yep, just buy another bolt, slap it in, you're good to go. But no,
we've had trigger problems with AKs in the desert, by the way. But they wouldn't fire. It's usually after we did an install, whether it's a Tapco, maybe it's an LG trigger, but there were problems, and we thought we had it down, and you really don't realize that you missed something, whether it was a retention plate wasn't properly in, you had a retention pin coming loose. That happened to me one time. School of Hard Knocks, I learned. But they're not fail-safe in terms of, hey, they never go wrong. No. If you keep them the way they come and you never modify them, your chances of having anything go wrong are a lot less.
Yeah.
Out of box, if you don't dick with it, don't change it, it's going to be pretty reliable.
Seems like most of the problems have been ammunition based with them.
We have had ammo problems.
Ammo problems with
Failures to
AKs
fire,
suck.
light primer strikes. I can't remember the last time an AK like double fed on is out there though, or
No, not a. I'm just thinking
stovepiped.
of like when the casing gets ripped. We've had that.
Those Bulgarian clear mags though, they didn't function on us. Remember?
Yep,
So that
Bulgarian
we've
stuff.
seen magazine problems with them, where they would induce malfunctions. We've had the same thing with ARs too. But if I'm going to broad stroke it, weigh in if I'm wrong, I'd give it to the AK overall. Especially when you get really cold weather. We have never had any problems that were cold weather related with the AK system. With the AR we have. It's usually ammo related, like when we had TacticalAmmunition.com.
Yeah.
That ammo just does not
Hated
like
the
cold weather. Whatever powder they were using, it would go down. It was pretty embarrassing. One of the reasons we dumped them.
Heinously embarrassing.
It was so bad. By the way, watch for the review, dudes. Break time is the awesome Casio PRW 6100 Solar ABC, and it is so cool looking. Probably in my top 10 favorite watches of all time. Nice big positive LCD data line. Go look at my review. It's not inexpensive, but man, is it awesome. Love it. What are you wearing, TD?
Aviate Hawker Hurricane 2.
Oh, look at that. That's a big face one. So that's like a 44 millimeter display. Show them the back side of that just to remind them how sick it is. Sick. And by the way, from durability, we're going to springboard right into track record. AR versus AK. That one still has the protective backing on it, dude.
Yeah.
So it's got a Hawker Harrier 2 on the back. Super cool.
Harrier, one of the ugliest planes ever made.
Really?
Anyways, let's go on to what was
Links in the bottom if you want to get the watches. Buy them and we get like 4.3 cents when you buy them, and we can buy more stuff for review. The independent review voice. TMP. Track record.
Yep.
This is a lot harder than most people would think. I think a lot of guys roll in and go, oh, AK owns it. I beg to differ, friends. I beg to differ. The AR, the M4, the M16 has been all over the world with all types of battles and wars, and it is extremely proven.
And it's served more roles.
Look at the Israelis. The Israelis use the M16 forever.
Yeah.
I never heard them complain about it.
Convenient.
Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, special operations that we don't even know about, law enforcement use, civilian use. I think it's, if anything, it's a draw. I'm not going to just give it to the AK for track record. Yeah, I know there's all types of third world nations that use the AK in untrained hands, and it is a very simple weapon system to use. It's highly reliable. We just covered that. I get it. But track record, if you want to know the truth about track record, look at what agencies and armies buy. Okay, so if AK is so awesome, why is it not our standard rifle or a variant thereof in the United States military? Boom, he laid that down.
Why is it all these other countries, how they keep swapping over to M4s?
Roger that.
Whenever you hear about, oh yeah, they're buying a new rifle, everyone gets excited thinking it's going to be something new and awesome. And, and oh, dude, they're going to design their own. And what do they order? A bunch of freaking M4s.
Why is it that the U.S. Army decided to stick with the M4, the M16 still? They looked at it. They spent a lot of money researching the possible follow-on assault rifle for the U.S. military. What did they decide? What we got is pretty good.
Sticking with it. It's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, we have some failures, yes, but they're pretty few and far between, and we don't hear a lot of complaints from the troops.
Yeah, the favorability scores are always
They love it.
high.
I think the big beef that guys have with the M4 is stopping power, because they lopped off the barrel, they took a bunch of feet per second off the round, and it's not that effective out of a 14.5 inch barrel. That's why the Marines use a full-size 20-inch, dude.
Although they're not doing it so much no more.
Well, they used to do it.
They're getting M4s now. I love it. A full 20-inch AR is awesome.
That's one reason I prefer an 18-inch barrel. I'm getting more velocity. Usually I'm shooting an FMJ load of some sort of description, maybe an OTM load. I like the longer barrel. I think it makes a lot more sense. Also part of track record is the evolution of the weapon system. How much R&D has been invested in each one?
Which one of these has seen big changes in the last 10 years, do you say? Are there a lot of free floating rails coming out? Did Keymod get introduced on the AK platform?
We're going to talk about accessories separately, and they have made some great advancements. You're looking at some right here. Well, again, just look at the POF Renegade.
Yeah.
Dude, this has so many advancements. I mean, I won't go over all the things it has. It's in the freaking pistol grip here. I did it before. I'll just show it on camera. It's a highly evolved system.
And it keeps going.
which improves it. It's not just for second cold. They're like, hey, we're just changing the